Welcome to Athens Twilight. This race has some ups and downs for me, and it is one of the biggest races in the United States from a criterium standpoint. I got a call-up because I got second last year. Me and Clever Martinez, who's on the left there, and also leading USA Crits, which is a series down in the southeast here. We left the field last year, which was pretty awesome. And I'm going to go for kind of a similar strategy this year of staying up towards the front. This course is very difficult once you get farther back. It just stretches out, and it's pretty dark. So people tend to hit the brakes a little bit more into a lot of stuff. And you can see me already. I moved back a little bit there, but I'm moving back up to the front. And this first lap does have a preem. Start-finish line. First guy comes across. I think it's $250. But I'm really just focused on floating towards the front of this race. This is my first big crit of the year. I did the Redlands Criterium. I didn't really have a lot of good luck there. Kind of got washed over the top and just wasn't able to maintain a good position at the end. But fitness was pretty good, so I was excited coming into this, which is, as you can see, a little bit longer race. But coming through the start-finish straight here, nobody was really going for the preem, so I figured I'd give the first attack of the race and just sent it right over the top of the start-finish line. Got the $250 preem, which was pretty nice and would prove kind of helpful a little bit later. But I looked back and there was a little gap, so I just kept on the pedals into this first corner. It wasn't to be, and I got caught by the main field very quickly. Realized that was going to happen. This is the inside of the first corner here, and I usually like moving up on the inside of this corner. People tend to leave a little more space for you to chop the inside there. I guess it's not even chopping. It's just taking the inside of the corner, and there's plenty of space there, so no one's getting held up. On the right there, you might have been able to see that's Sam from SCAD. I believe it's Sam, who had one of the more substantial breakaways of the race. He's already pretty much approaching that first corner. You can see him down there. And he was solo for a while. I don't know how many laps, but he was out there just roasting for a while. And I think a lot of teams were totally willing to just let him be out there all alone, but he was also going pretty quick. So any attempts to get across to him, I know I made an attempt to get across to him. You can see him still off the front there. So an hour and 20 minutes to go in this race. I took this line on the outside before this corner, which is corner 3, and that was very close to the corner, but that outside line sometimes would open up pretty good, and then it closed down really quick the closer you got into that corner. Here into the final corner about a lap later, and Sam's still up the road, but I figured I'd give it a little attack. I know Sam's super strong, and if I can make it across to him, maybe we can do another little breakaway move. I get to the top of the hill. I'm just going to keep on the pedals. I think I had one person on my wheel at least, and we got caught. It all came back together. Sam came back into the field, and I actually got run into like a barrier, and I knocked my bars in, my shifter in, and I hit my leg pretty good, and also dropped the chain off my bike, so I had to go into the pit and get that chain sorted, get the shifter moved back into a good position because it was sliding all around, and they put me back in a little farther back than I had exited, so I had some work cut out for me to get back into the race. Again, this inside line on the first corner, my favorite part to move up at Athens. It's usually pretty open. People will close it down like you just saw, but you can usually tell how far you can get back up. People take a lot of speed off into that corner, and this next corner here is also pretty okay one to move into. As long as you get in front of somebody and they know to give you a little space, it's safe to move up into those. Third corner here, however, has a lot of bumpiness into the exit of the turn. You can see my teammate Kyle Teasler there on the right side. Stoked to have him on the team this year, and I'm going to keep on floating up. Kyle actually floated up with me pretty good. Let's talk about the teams. We have Foundation over there on the right in the red. This maroon kit in the gold, that's Brody McDonald. He doesn't have any teammates, but another team there on the left. That's Luke Fetzer from Cadence. You also have Lucas Burgoyne, Cade Bickmore, Danny Summerhill. They are a stacked crit team and just should be wrecking all of the crits this year. And that's Burgoyne in the Stars and Stripes there. They're a crew to be reckoned with. We also have here just in front of me is a German team called DCC, and to the right of me, the Scotland development team showed up. A Scottish national team, rather, showed up to do some of the bigger crit races of the year. Tom Shorman, I believe that's his name. He was one of the better, more proficient crit racers in that Scottish team. Kind of a cool kit. Here I am following Clever on another attack through the start-finish straight. Clever usually attacks at a great time, and if you can jump on his wheel, he's good at cornering, and I know from our little lap of the field last year that I like riding with him, especially at Athens Twilight. He's a good guy. We eventually got countered attacked by, I believe that was Danny Summerhill and Brody McDonald there. I just let that gap go. I had done enough for the day, and I figured Foundation wasn't going to let them go. Foundation, who is Clever's team, and Marcos Mendez, has been just doing great this year. They've made it into breakaways, and they can also field sprint just effortlessly win field sprints. And by effortlessly, I mean all 8 of their guys try as hard as they can to win the field sprint, and they usually do, and do more than that by getting many guys in the top 5. So they're all really fast finishers, and they're all super strong. So that is a big team to look out for. But here with 50 minutes to go in the race, there's actually some splits forming. I know Michael Garrison, who has a purple kit with the white bib shorts, he was looking to make the race a little more animated. And we also have here Evan McQuirk. Yes. He's got actually pretty narrow bars for this race, but he's a really good breakaway rider. You can see the Foundation team kind of sending moves too. They are an interesting team in that they are pretty aggressive in races, but they're totally fine with it going to a sprint also. So they'll ride a breakaway all day long if they need to, but also are going to win the sprint, possibly. Here I go for another one of my moves. I know Kyle's a little bit farther back, so deciding to make my moves when I can. I saw a little ease up, and it had been stretched out for quite a while with some gaps in the field, so I knew it was a good time. Maybe people were a little tired. We're almost an hour into this race and plenty of time to go, so I think people are thinking about, oh, maybe we need to save some energy. And I know when people want to save energy, and I want to save energy, that's the time where if you spend it, maybe some people are just going to not follow. So I kept rolling through, but sadly it wasn't to be. Foundation, they're just killers. And Brian Gomez there with a sneaky little attack, quickly followed by Cadence. And that was kind of the story of the race, is Foundation and Cadence just kind of marking each other, and then the other riders who were super competent also looking out. You can see Shorman on the inside of that corner there, and I thought he'd chop me a little bit more than I wanted to, so I went right back on the inside and would actually move him a little closer to the barrier, just give him a little bump, let him know that maybe don't do that again. But we moved on from that pretty quickly and got on through the rest of the field. They all seemed pretty competent crit racers here. So here with 43 minutes to go in the race, and it's getting a little bit weird. There are these big ease ups. You can see the Foundation riders pulling off and leaving these big gaps open for plenty of attacks from solo riders. Butcherbox, for some reason, was keen to chase stuff back. I didn't really know who they were going for from a sprinting standpoint, but we also had this Visit Pittsburgh team rolling through pretty strong. About 10 minutes later, same thing's kind of happening. Little 1-2s riders would get off the front, but it wouldn't stick too much. You could see, I believe that's Garrison in the white bibs there, kind of staying up towards the front. Little breakaways forming here and there, but nothing too strong. Garrison is probably one of the stronger breakaway riders in the race, and when he wants to go, he's going to go pretty hard for a few laps. Is typically a pretty good way to form a breakaway on this course. You just have to stay on the pressure, and it really just depends on the teams behind waiting a bit to start chasing, looking at each other. I knew it was a good time to follow Garrison, so I was rolling on his wheel. I think he would keep looking back every once in a while and realize that the chase was actually ensuing, so we never quite got anywhere. Fetzer kind of coming around. Maybe I was looking back, had a little bump there of my handlebars on his leg, but nothing too serious. And me and Fetzer are pretty chill, so he apologized pretty quick. And that's pretty cool. Continuing through the race. Only 30 minutes to go, so it's getting down to crunch time. I'm looking for times to attack. You can see Fetzer probably from Caden's kind of moving over to the side there, but I was able to find a way through, kind of trying to keep some pressure on the pedals down through into this start-finish straight, and then hopefully just like roll a good gap. I think after last year I was much more marked. I would hope they would mark me a little bit more after me and Clever were able to pull off a pretty cool little result there, and indeed we would be marked by pretty much anybody who was sniffing out a break or trying to be represented in the break. Kelly Benefits was also here with a pretty big squad. Alejandro Che, I believe, had shown up. We had done Redlands roughly a week before this, so a lot of those guys were in good road race shape and ready to race this longer crit, maybe the tail end of USA crits here, the series that we were sadly had to miss, the Sunny King race down in Anniston, Alabama. I took an interesting line here, kind of went from the right all the way to the inside of the corner, but the key with that, you could see it on the live stream as I was just kind of looking back, making sure there was plenty of room for me to do that. 17 minutes to go, so it's getting down to crunch time. Not a lot of laps left, and Cade Bickmore there on the right side of me. Brody taking a hot inside line, making sure to give him some space there. Brody likes to stand on his bike a lot during crits. He really does that when he accelerates. Anywho, we're continuing through this bottom straight. Crowds were getting very lively, super excited about just the whole race going on. So 10 minutes to go. Everybody's kind of fighting for these front positions, trying to stay up into a good spot, and the Foundation team pretty fiercely defending their wheel. Clever there. Looks like he's taking up the sweeping job for Foundation. He seemed to be totally willing to be like a workhorse this year for the Foundation team, and when you got Clever as a workhorse, that is pretty impressive. Gomez is on great form this year here too. He's one of the taller riders on Foundation, and right there, Tom Shorman took a hot line up the right side. We're going to watch that again because this took me out of the race. So Tom on the inside taking, there's plenty of space there. So he took this little hot line along the barriers, but we moved out towards him. You can see he bumped my handlebars and then bumped Evan McCork's handlebars right in front of me. And then sadly, we all kind of went towards the fence. I wasn't able to dodge it, but there's a lot of conversation about exactly what caused this crash. We're going to go into that a little bit. I want to look at it one more time. You can see right there it goes, and I want you to notice the fence there in that little part. So Tom kind of goes up on the side and he hits Evan's bars. Evan's running super small bars, which we'll look at later, but I think no matter what was going to happen, him just making contact with Evan's bars was going to move them to the side like that. It closed down really quick. I don't know. I mean, he definitely took a hot route, but the fact that right there, you can see everybody having to dodge that fence as it crumples into the race course. I'm going to watch that again. Look on the left side here, right? Fetzer on the front there. As soon as Tom Shorman hits this fence, he just stops, but the fence collapses and like kind of crumbles in front of the race. And Fetzer did a good job to dodge that. That could have taken out a lot of people and probably really hurt people. These fences are really not made for safety, but I think really the main culprit of this whole thing was the fence itself and not these narrow bars. I don't think it was Tom's super aggressive line. I had done that line many times before, just stopping so suddenly on these fences. I ended up breaking my wrist, but let's go back to the end of the race. We had Garrison with late attack. So this whole last lap, he attacks through the start-finish straight, just almost gets a gap. It looks like Foundation and Cade Bickmore from Cadence were able to pull him back, and then Lucas Burgoyne taking the win right in front of Brody McDonald and Julian Ruhi. Kind of a bummer. Let me know what you think. What was the cause of that crash? I really think it was a fence. Nothing else seemed too crazy. I've watched it a bunch now. Thank you for watching.